The Dukes of Dice are brought to you by Arcane Wonders and Game Toppers LLC, as well as Alex losing horribly at his favorite game.
Welcome to the Duchy. It's time for another episode of the Dukes of Dice podcast, a proud member of the Dice Tower Network.
Coming to you from Dice Tower Con 2019 in sunny Orlando, Florida, it's The Dukes of Dice, a podcast about board, card, and occasionally role-playing games. Today, the Dukes get into Dice Tower Con without Sean. It'll be BJ and Alex giving you a review of We're Doomed, talking about recent plays, including the biggest baseball highlights 2045 tournament that's ever been assembled. And now, The Dukes of Dice.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This is not Sean, BJ.
And Alex.
This is episode 204, which we're calling Roux the Day, courtesy of Nick Hayes, but credit for that name could have gone to Steve O'Rourke, the name father, or Jimmy DM90, because statistically speaking, it's likely they win every week, unless it's Rob Rouse from Blue Peg, Pink Peg.
This is why we don't script stuff out, BJ.
Because he's like 2 for 2 on throwing out the names. But if you don't know what Alex and I are talking about, we name our the name episodes over in our guild number 2008. That's the help we get. At the end of every episode, we'll talk about all of the runners-up.
I'm going to take this from you. I have to take that phone from you. We can't have you scripted, BJ. They're going to think you're a Dr. Gumbo robot.
That was my...
A Dr. Gumbot.
That was my terrible, terrible Sean Ramirez impression. Terrible.
Was that an impression?
It was trying to be, but it was terrible.
Oh, boy. So for folks who don't know, we are here at Dice Tower Con 2019, and Sean is not here because Sean never goes to any conventions anymore, except for Sean Con coming up in 1 week.
That's right.
Sean Con in Albuquerque.
And you are going to, or not going to be there?
I'll be in the same state, and I may play a game or two. I don't know if I'll be making a huge appearance at Sean Con. It may be a cameo at best. In any case, BJ from Board Game Gumbo, frequent contributor on the guild, good friend of the Duchy and of Monochromatic Wolf Play Experiences, is joining us. Dr. Gumbo, how has your convention been?
My convention is going fantastic. I really love playing Baseball Highlights 2045. First mention.
I mentioned it in the intro. Does that count? I don't think that counts.
Maybe not. Yeah, I have a fantastic convention. Orlando is awesome. I was out here a little bit earlier with my folks. Got here for the convention, been playing a lot of games and helping out at Monochromatic Wolf, and really enjoying hanging out with all the Dukes of Dice friends.
Yeah, and this is, as I've said before on the show, this is my favorite convention. It's my favorite convention as an attendee. As a vendor, it can be a little rough sometimes because they keep the halls open a little bit later than usual. But as an attendee, hard to top. You get so many new plays in. If you want to go and relax, there's the hot tub right out there. But yeah, the biggest thing is the hot new games. All the hot new games are here. All the great people are here. We have a producer for this show. This is actually a higher tech show than typical because we have...
That's right.
Mr. Sean, the one, the only Mr. Sean, making sure our levels are fine, which is an unusual situation.
Yeah, and Mr. Sean is also a frequent con goer, and it's nice to see him here, and I see all the people here at the con that know the Dukes of Dice and also Monochromatic Wolf. But I love the way the con is set up. The big game room with tons of tables. I've never had any trouble finding a table. What about you?
No, it's been fantastic. I haven't had any time to play anything. So if I were playing things, I definitely wouldn't have had a hard time finding a table. They have a ton of tables here. The play space is amazing. It's the best open gaming experience there is, really. Even better than BGG or Geekway in my mind.
I do like the hot games area here a little better than BGG, and I'm not throwing any shade. It's just that they're right in the front. You don't have to go looking for them. They're right in the front. And if you get there early in the morning, Alex, Tom's there, Eric's there, Sam's there. People are there to help you out with the games.
I don't wake up early in the morning. As you found out, I don't wake up before 9 if I can avoid it.
You promised me this morning.
I promised you nothing.
Oh, you did.
I promised you 0.
I get a text. Listeners, I get a text out there, and all it said was, I was a very sleepy boy this morning. And you got like twice as much sleep as I got last night.
Doesn't affect me. I will wake up at the same time no matter what. So, Dr. Gumbo, let's talk about some new plays we've gotten here at the con. What are some top plays that you've had so far?
I got to play a cool game that I hadn't played before. You may have played it. I don't remember you mentioned it. Metro X. It's a rando rider. It's not a brand new game. It was out about a year or so here to America. It's one of those rando riders. So you're going to flip cards, but it's one of the most diabolical roll and write type games that I've ever seen. It's a small box small format, and you're thematically trying to connect metro routes across the city, the state of Japan, and inside Japan.
The state of Japan?
Yeah, the nation state.
Oh,
of
okay.
Japan. Yeah,
Or just the nation, maybe?
the nation of Japan.
Come
We're
on.
technical here. From the gumbo. So when you're looking at that sheet, I couldn't believe that in such a small box I could get so brain burned. Now, I had 4 hours of sleep last night, so that probably affects it a little bit. But I like rando rights, flipping rights even, and I just had a good time playing Metro X.
Nice. So that's Metro X. Who publishes that?
That is by Uzma Games. I
Okay.
forget the name
So
of
it's
it.
more
Yeah,
something like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. One of my big new plays at this convention, and we played this together
Right.
at one point. This is Llama. It's one of the Spiel nominees. I just received my German copy just in time to realize that there were English copies available and
Right.
easily accessible from Amazon.
Right.
So last time I'm going to order from Amazon DE ever, I think.
Yeah.
Because I just received it right before the convention and got a chance to play it. And much like last year when I had a Kennerspiel nominee, Quacks of Quedlinburg, I played it with the wrong rules the first couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Which
a
is
shock.
really hard because there's 3 rules in the game.
Right.
There's not very many. For folks who don't know Llama, this is designed by Rainer Knizia. It's one of 3 games nominated for the Spiel des Jahres, along with Just One and Werewords.
Right.
And this is, if you had to describe it in a nutshell, Gamers Uno.
Okay.
Gamers Uno. There is not a lot to this game. Effectively, you're going to draw 6 cards, and you are going to play 1 each round, or draw 1 each round, or quit. And then when one person has played out all their cards, or everyone has quit, the round is going to end. You're going to get points, which if for the number of cards remaining in hand, effectively. If I have a 6 in hand and a 5 in hand, I'll get 11 points. If I play all my cards out of hand, I get to return a chip, which can be as much as 10 points back. Whoever has the lowest score wins. It kind of has that golf-like aesthetic to it.
Flew under the radar before coming out to the Spiel des Jahres,
Until
right?
it was named as a Spiel des Jahres nominee, I had not heard of this game. I was not aware of its existence, and I think that was probably true for a lot of folks here in the U.S. I think if it were not designed by Rainer Knizia, I don't think it's nominated for a Spiel. I don't.
I will tell you before our friend John from the Southern Board Game Fest corrected us on that rule. I thought the game was fun, and it got more fun as we played. But after the rule change, I could see taking that game home. I'm not so sure that it should be the Spiel des Jahres, and I don't know about you, but in the ranking, I wouldn't put it number 1. Just One would be my favorite choice.
Yeah, Just One or Werewords, I think, are both well ahead of Llama for me. I don't know who's going to win. I'm not sure about that. But in terms of my personal favorites, I'd take Just One and Werewords any day over Llama. That being said, if you have a chance to play with casual folks, whether it be family or friends who don't play a lot of games, this is a pretty decent one to get them into because it's like Uno, but a lot better.
I'm wondering which one's going to have more staying power, and here's why. Just One, is it going to burn out a little bit like a lot of party games, whereas Llama is going to pick up speed as people hear about it and start to play it with their families. The European nations play games with their families a lot.
I think it depends on who wins, because I think the winner of that is going to get big-time exposure. So I think that's going to determine a lot of whether this game gets remembered or not. I think it needs a win to really have staying power, because by itself, I just don't think it's good enough.
And that's published by Amigo, though. And Amigo likes these little small box card games. We talk about these all the time. So I don't know. I think it's got some staying power. I'll put it this way. It's better than I thought, but I still like Just One.
Do you like Werewords better?
No, I like Just One better than Werewords. I like both games. But
Do you like them both better than Llama?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I rank it 1, 2, and 3 as Llama.
So that's Llama from Amigo Spiel. My number 3 of the Spiel des Jahres. Give it a shot if you think Gamers Uno sounds interesting to you. What else have you been playing, BJ?
I got to play a game from AEG called Walking in Burano that actually has been republished by AEG, so not a lot of people have it. I was fortunate enough to get an early edition of it, and I think it's going to be out by Gen Con. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Walking in Burano, it's thematically like the city of Burano, a little city on an island off the coast of Venice, out in that marshy area. And the city is famous because it has all of these colored houses, and it's tough to keep those colored houses, big, bright, beautiful colored houses. So we get hired as painters, and we're trying to repaint the houses and get the best contract. Now, what it really is, that's a lot of theme. It's really a tableau builder, and a quick and easy 30-minute tableau builder where you score. So I'm playing with 2 guys. Actually, one of them was in the Baseball Highlights tournament, but I'm playing with 2 guys, and both of these guys play all heavy games. They were talking about Arkwright and Lignum and all these other games, and they're playing this small 30-box game. And at the end, they said, wow, this is like a great prep for those big, heavy games because we really had to think. But Walking in Burano, it's easy to teach, it's colorful, it's attractive on the table, and it's a lot of fun. So I'd suggest getting out there if you get a chance to play it.
I can't remember if I played this one before. It sounds familiar, and the colored houses. I've actually been to Burano.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been to that town, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. You have Burano and Murano both kind of off the coast of Venice.
Yeah, and people were walking by and going, "Is that Murano? No. Is that Burano? No. It's Walking in Burano. It's a different game from those other two."
Okay, so I think I played Burano, but not Walking in Burano.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I'll give that one a look. Next one I'm going to talk about is not a published game.
Ooh.
But
I don't know what this one is.
You know what this one is. This is Restoration Games invited us to take an early look, both BJ and myself, an early look at their project, Return to the Dark Tower.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A game that brings back a lot of memories from my youth, and you not so much.
So tell folks what the original game, not this one that we played that's in prototype form. Tell them what the original one is like.
Hey, shout out to my friend Brian Parity, one of my best friends growing up. Back in the 80s, he got this crazy game for Christmas, and we took it out and we played it. Big, tall, and then remember, this is the 80s, right? To where everybody's playing Parcheesi and Life and all those kind of games, and all of a sudden he's got this electronic game, which was all the rage back in the 80s. Big, tall tower, round board, which was really weird, and you fight off these bandits. What were they called? I can't remember the name of them, but you fight off the brigands. And you go to the bazaar. The game was totally random. The game was totally broken. And looking back on it now as a modern gamer, I would never play it. But it brought back so many good memories, the Dark Tower itself. So when I heard that Restoration Games was going to do this, and Isaac Childress was on the design team for it, I got super excited.
So, yeah, let's mention that. Isaac Childress, if you don't know the name offhand, that is the designer of Gloomhaven. So, just imagine this. Restoration Games, the company that put out Fireball Island, which brought in how many millions of dollars?
Oh, my God, yeah.
A couple million. At least a couple.
Kickstarter, yeah.
Hugely successful Kickstarter. Then they announced another childhood favorite being restored. And, oh, by the way, guess who's involved in the project? Isaac Childress of Gloomhaven. Yeah. Unless they mess this game up something crazy, they are going to make an ungodly amount of money on Kickstarter.
So we're not supposed to talk a lot about it. At least he has.
It's in prototype form.
But I will say this: if anything that Justin is telling us about, and that's Justin Jacobson, the owner of Restoration Games.
Yep.
If he can pull off what he's describing, Alex,
and it's ambitious. It's very ambitious.
They're shooting for the moon here. But if they can hit the moon, this is going to be a really awesome project.
If there's a company that I would trust to hit the moon in this kind of a situation, there's maybe two.
Right.
Maybe Stonemaier and Restoration Games. Those would be the two that I would come first to mind as can pull off the thing that they are trying to pull off with this. I think there's a chance that this thing could be really, really big. I won't talk a ton about the gameplay. It wasn't finished. We had some fun moments in this. I was playing as the orphan scion.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker.
I basically had to carry around one of the quest people. I won't get too much into that to spoil it.
Right.
But I had to carry them around the whole game and not do a whole heck of a lot of anything else.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. It's hard to judge because of the state of the game.
It's not finished.
Yeah,
it's just not
state
finished.
Of the game. But there were some moments where I was really into the action that we were doing, and I did like without spoiling anything, the stories. I like the stories. So you can see that Rob Davio touch because he's a storyteller, right? And Davio's on the development team for this. And you can see the puzzly aspects, I think, that Isaac brings to the table. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see what the final project is, but I'm excited about what I was shown and what we played.
Yeah, and I'm going to be cautious, if only because I don't want to talk too much about the gameplay. It's just, at least in terms of the playtest, and it was just a playtest, it was a little long for me.
But it gave you some reasons about why you're going to look for the project, right?
Right.
There was enough there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My eye is going to be on this anyway. My eye is on just about anything Restoration's going to put out just because of their track record. And again, this one is going to be a big hitter. I think it's going to be impossible not to notice on Kickstarter. I'll be really curious to see what this one does.
Did he give us some timelines? I don't remember.
Not really. I don't recall that.
They were kind of iffy.
And even if he had, it would have been super secret.
Yeah, sure. Was it? Yeah. That NDA. That's right. I forgot about that.
And we're all getting sued. Right. Dang it.
Do we know a good lawyer that we could get from New Mexico?
Not a good one.
Oh, okay. We know a lawyer.
We know a lawyer.
Yeah.
We know a lawyer from Louisiana, too. For folks who don't know, Dr. Gumbo is, in fact, a doctor of the law.
Juris doctor. That's
Juris
correct.
doctor.
Yeah, that's correct.
What kind of law do you practice?
I wear the white hat. I represent insurance companies, and when people sue us, I'm the guy that they turn to. So,
okay.
That's what I do.
Fair enough. Yeah. Any other new plays you want to talk about for the show?
No, that's about it. That's what I got.
Well, and here's the thing. That's all I got, too, because any other time there was a chance for new plays, I decided I'd rather go sit in a hot tub. And so I went and sat in a hot tub.
How are you feeling? Are you feeling okay?
My back was killing me yesterday, and it's starting to flare up a little bit now. It's just a matter of those haul hours sometimes, man. They drag on you.
Hey, one of the things I do like about the con, you were able to take some breaks because the convention is so close to the hotel, right?
Yep.
Right next door. And also, how about the food and the root beers we were getting, right?
Yeah, not bad.
So as conventions go, being able to walk over and getting cool food like that, it hasn't been that bad, right?
It's being able to get close to the hot tub. The one thing is we've had some iffy weather at nighttime with some lightning storms and things along those lines. Other than that, not too bad. So, hey, that's recent plays. We're now going to head on over to our review.
The game is afoot, Sean. It's afoot again. The game is a foot. It's a foot game. What am I talking about?
I say, Holmes.
Yes. What is it, Watson? I'm Holmes.
Did you see the Will Ferrell movie?
I did not. I heard it was absolute hot garbage.
It was really bad.
Yes. Well, you know what isn't really bad? Game Toppers. I hear Game Toppers are amazing.
I'm a big fan. Yes.
Where's this falling apart?
Everywhere. It's falling apart everywhere. No, I'm a big fan of Game Toppers. My buddy Ellie's got one. Alex, you have one.
I do have one, and I certainly enjoy it. It has definitely been an upgrade for the gaming experience at an affordable price. But guess what, Sean?
What's that?
If you want to get in on the next round of Game Toppers 2.0, with brand new models, new accessories, new thematic mats, new storage solutions, all of that stuff, there's a new Kickstarter coming, and it's not too far away, June 25th. June 25th. And if you collect the clues from an ongoing video series that's on Game Toppers LLC's website, well, guess what? You could be entered to win a premium 3mm stitched edge mat. These are amazing mats. And if you win the big contest, you could win a Game Topper package valued at more than $1,000. This is a big contest. Go to the link provided in the show notes here on the Dukes of Dice and enter the contest and let them know the Dukes of Dice sent you, because this is a big opportunity, Sean.
Absolutely. So June 25th, Alex, that's only 2 fortnights away from when we're recording this.
Yes, and possibly fewer depending on when you hear this episode.
Yeah, so just remember June 25th.
Go check it out. Game Toppers LLC, upgrading your gaming experience. General Ramirez, we're under attack.
Actually, I'm only a colonel. I've been demoted.
Colonel Ramirez, we're under attack, and you haven't been promoted.
Oh, you know what? I'm a major now. This is all falling apart.
Major Ramirez, we're under attack, and you've been demoted twice since our last conversation.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'm not good at this whole war thing, Alex. I mean, General Goldsmith.
Sorry, it was a general speaking to a fellow general.
Oh, Private Goldsmith.
Private Goldsmith. I am very private about my personal life. This is true.
I can't see your rank insignia, so I'm just not sure what you are.
Personally, I'm partial to Seaman Goldsmith. That's just me.
Wow.
Anyway, in Air, Land, and Sea from Arcane Wonders, you get to put yourself in the shoes of a general trying to win the field of battle, whether it be in the skies, on the ground, or, hey, in the water.
Wait.
That's right.
Did you just use all the synonyms for air, land, and sea?
I sure did. But I will say, in all seriousness, Sean, this is a fantastic 2-player game from Arcane Wonders. I tried it out personally at Gamma, and it was one I was looking to scoop up right away. I wanted him to give me the demo copy and let me walk away with it right then and there. I still don't have one yet. I really want one, Sean. I want it so bad. Air, Land, and Sea. This is a 2-player game where you're trying to control the different areas, but it uses card play in a really clever way. If you can control 2 of those 3 areas, you will win points. However, it pays in this game to make a strategic retreat, to lick your wounds and try and fight for a better day, because the earlier in the round you do that, the earlier in the round you give up the ghost, the less of a benefit your opponent will get if they should win. So, really a fantastic game. 2-player game. Love it. Check it out. It's from Arcane Wonders. Arcane Wonders. It's never a blunder when you go with Arcane Wonders.
This week on the Dukes of Dice, we're looking at a game that is absolutely bananas. It's chaotic. It's crazy. The unexpected happens, and it takes 15 minutes. No more, no less. But does We're Doomed live up to the hype that I've specifically been giving it? Or is this game an apocalyptic disaster? Let's find out. This would normally be where Sean would give the rules. But Sean's not here, so I'm going to try and give the rules. So We're Doomed is from Breaking Games. I don't have the designer's name offhand, which is a real shame. Hopefully someone can research that. Our producer is on it. Oh, wait, no, we also have BJ on this as I describe the rules. Oh, we have someone else in the room. So everyone is researching the designer of this game. Mike Horton, the designer of We Are Doomed. This is from Breaking Games, and this is one that I first found out about at Geek Way to the West. I talked about it a lot in plays there. And Dr. Gumbo, we got you a few plays of this one as well.
A bunch.
Yes. A bunch. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. The gameplay of this is dirt simple. The premise of this is, after 15 minutes, the world is going to end. And when the world ends, a rocket ship is going to lift off, and it's only going to have a certain number of seats. It might have seats for nobody, it might have seats for 3 people, 4 people, whoever else. However many seats are available, those seats are then handed out to the governments in influence order. So whoever has the most influence will get those seats. Resources determine how many things are available in the rocket. Game only has 2 things, resources and influence. Each round, you're going to take one action. That action can be taking resources. It can be taking influence. It can be stealing resources from someone. It can be stealing influence from someone. And it can also be, if you have enough resources, nuking another player. Each player is going to play as one of several different government types. Those government types all break the rules of the game in some special, smanchy way. At the end of each round, after taking actions, you get to contribute. There's a declaration of contributions, and whoever throws in the most is going to get the first player marker, is going to get an influence token, and then is going to get an event card from the deck. And that's where this game takes a crazy turn. Because these event cards, some of them are white, you'll read them aloud. Some of them are black, you'll read them to yourself and do as you do. But all of them will break the game in unexpected, crazy, and strange ways. You're then going to keep playing and play as many rounds as you can fit in until the timer runs out. Other small rules, you are not allowed to stall out the game. If you start stalling, there's a countdown timer. Don't be a jerk. All resources and influence are public. And then any other rule to this game can be broken by something else. Anything I'm forgetting, Dr. Gumbo?
No, that's about it.
That is about it. So let's get to the review. Impressions you had of this game before you played it.
Right out of the gate, I got to be honest. It sounded like, from the descriptions that I heard before, it sounded like another version of Coup, right? So, the different actions where you can steal from people or do things. So I was expecting, Coup's not one of my favorite games. A little bit too, take that, a little bit too random for me. But, so I wasn't really that high on playing this game going into the con.
Okay. So before I'd even heard about this, I had heard about this at Geek Way to the West. And someone approached me and said, hey, I played this game. It was someone from Mile High Game Guys.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Who told me, hey, I played this game. It's complete nonsense, and it's the best game I played all con.
Wow.
And I was intrigued. After he described it, I was hooked. It sounded 100% like a me kind of game. The coup didn't really matter. The coup part of it didn't really matter.
Huh.
That part didn't matter to me because I like coup. But the theme and some of the things I heard would happen in this game attracted me to it immediately. So those were my impressions of the game before playing the game.
Interesting.
Let's talk about rules. This game is very rules light.
I didn't see the rules.
Yeah, you didn't see the rule book?
No, I didn't get to see the rule book. What are we talking about? It can't be a lot of rules.
There are not. There are not a ton of rules.
You did tell me one rule that you read, by the way. Something about shuffling.
So the box for this game, the deck box says, do not shuffle. And then the top card of the deck says, shuffle. When you get to that first event, it says shuffle the cards. So the game from the beginning, from the get-go, is playing pranks on you. Absolutely. Sure. Entirely. Rule book. I didn't learn this game from the rule book.
Oh,
you didn't learn this game from the rule book. I can't speak to it. When I've had to reference it for things, it's been fine. There's not much to it. I've literally described all the rules, and this game takes, as we've talked about, 2 or 3 minutes to play. It's to teach, I should say. It's one of the big strengths. It's one of the real strengths of this game is that it teaches as quickly as it does.
You and I wanted to play a bunch of different play counts, and that's exactly what we're talking about. I would just sit by the table, grab somebody as they're walking by and say, hey, can we teach you a game in 1 minute that plays 15 minutes? And that was actually accurate. It was a 1 minute or less teach.
Yep.
So I can't see how having the rule book or not having the rule book, this is a game you could teach by word of mouth, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It must be a pretty solid rule book if by iteration and by word of mouth, we're getting the rules correct, as far as we know.
And there aren't that many rules to pass along. There's sort of a weird oral tradition that comes about with board games
I can see
where
that.
someone who's a teacher will teach things, and sometimes they'll remember rules wrong. there aren't many rules, and it's kind of hard to get them wrong in this game.
And the timer actually makes you sort of house rule. Even if there's something going on, we would say, okay, what are we gonna do? You're looking at the timer. Hey, let's just move on. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, and the whole spirit of the game is don't be a jerk about the rules.
Right.
Don't be a jerk about anything if you can. I mean, obviously, there's some jerk moves you're going to pull in this game. You're going to nuke other players. You're going to eliminate people. But in general, that rule of don't be a jerk to other people.
That's true. We're not playing 1846.
No, no, you are not. And you can play this game in less time than it takes to learn 1846. Right. I'm pretty sure.
In all honesty, I'm not so sure that winning or losing was really the premise of the game. My son Jack said it's really all about getting people together, an icebreaker at a convention, right? An icebreaker at a party, or some game where play 15 minutes, and when somebody walks in the last 5 minutes and they like what's going on, they can just join right away, right at the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. So we're past rule book. Let's talk art and components.
Okay.
Does the look of this game appeal to you? Are the components of a high enough quality? How does this game succeed or fail as far as art and components go?
I think you have to start with the elephant in the room, and that's that big, giant sand timer. When you told me that it had a sand timer, it literally almost takes up the entire box. It's an impressive piece. It's a great sand timer.
It's a 15-minute sand timer.
Yeah.
It has to be impressive.
But it could have been chinchy, and it doesn't look chinchy. I mean, it looks really nice. But I will tell you, I like this one. This was one where I'll give it. I like the graphic design. What it's going for all this, corporate non-speak and all this. I just like the way it looks. It looks like some dystopian future that's about to happen to you. At least that's the feeling I got from the way they did the graphic design on all the different cards and elements.
The cards are of decent quality.
Okay.
The tuck box is of decent quality. A little, but I didn't see it as a problem.
Okay.
The box looks appealing enough to me, and I like that the box has the use of being not just the game box, but also the box where you chuck resources in.
Yeah, I tried to get it to take a picture. You're like, no, we need this for the actual player. And you were right.
Yeah,
we need it.
It's efficiency of components, which is always nice to see. There are the little grab bags for the components. So you have the grab bag for the resources.
Not a big fan.
The grab bags for the influence. I'm not a fan of those either. And I'm not really a fan of the look of those tokens.
No.
Sometimes I have to double check to make sure they actually weren't drawn on with a marker.
Right.
That's the kind of look that they have on these tokens. I gotta say,
I'm not a fan of either one.
I'm not a fan of either one of them. It ultimately doesn't matter because the thing that it does well is it's clear. You know what's a resource, you know what's an influence.
It is.
One's white, one's black.
It is.
And you know
totally
which one's read publicly, and you know which one is read secretly.
I also like the way that they wrote the cards. I mean, they never actually broke character. When you're reading those cards, especially the public ones, the way they wrote them as if it really was this thing that was going on. I don't know if you felt like this, but I got caught up in the story that was being told while we were playing. And each one was dependent upon the event cards. I don't want to give away too many spoilers because some of them are funny.
We'll get there in gameplay.
Yeah, sure.
We'll get there.
Okay, that's true, yeah.
But in terms of the components, it's certainly nothing that holds it back. I don't think it's a standout either. I like the little clips that hold up the player cards. Those work really well, decent quality. There's nothing that holds it back. It's not something that's going to blow you out of the water. It's not something that's going to jump off the shelf at you. And I think one of actually the disadvantages of the game is for $35, which is the cost of it, if you have to get it pretty much straight through break-in games, it doesn't look like a $35 game necessarily.
No.
And it doesn't feel like one necessarily for the components, except for that giant sand timer.
Yeah.
That giant sand timer.
You change out the bags and figure out something, just even a tray that you could pass around, and I'm happy with the components. That's my only complaint.
And I think part of the gameplay, honestly, is
really
passing those bags around.
Yeah, but fumbling around with them?
Sure, because it's a real-time game.
Okay.
You're nervous and you're trying to get things done in a speedy manner. That's kind of part of it.
Makes sense.
Now,
yeah.
I may be giving them a pass.
Okay.
I may be giving them they did this because you fumble with the bags and that's what you're supposed to do because it's a game that's in real time. That may not be true. It ends up playing out that way, and it ends up being an interesting little wrinkle in the game.
It's the weird juxtaposition, though. You got this big, sturdy box, you got all this good-looking stuff, and then here's some bags. It look like they got them at Dollar General. So I don't know.
Yeah,
you're giving them a pass. I'm not happy with it, but
it's certainly not a positive.
Yeah.
The sand timer's a positive. Nothing else with this, other than the efficiency of components, is a positive, at least in my book.
Absolutely, people, go check the sand timer out. You're going to be impressed with it, man.
It is really cool. And the first player chip is a nice little solid chip.
I don't remember. What was it?
It's just a poker chip.
Oh, the poker chip.
It's a nice poker chip.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
All right, let's talk gameplay innovation.
Right.
Gameplay. How do you feel about the gameplay of this one, Dr. Gumbo?
Well, I like the fact that it was a fast and easy teach, and then you got it started right away. And the gameplay seems to run pretty smooth, but it sure did seem, in all of our plays, it sure did seem dependent upon the time of the night we were playing and also the group we were playing.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. It seems to be one of those games that's going to be very dependent upon the group that you have.
If you are a player who takes games incredibly seriously, and by that I mean someone who makes sure everything is meticulous and is worried about balance in games and is worried about this is not the game for you because this game is not balanced and it's not really meant to be. It's meant to do weird things like, and this is minor spoilers for folks who don't want the entire event deck spoiled, but there's a card in there that's simply, the rapture happens, all theocracies just win.
Right.
Period. Or you're done.
That's not
you're kicked out of the game or whatever else. And my favorite ones are the ones that are, you're eliminated from the game, but you get 10 resources, so you can't win, but you get 10 resources, have fun, and kind of puts you in a position to maybe nuke other players and cause some chaos and be an agent of destruction. And seeing how people react to that is really interesting.
It's got the mechanic that not everybody's going to like, and we have to call a spade a spade. It's got that ta-da mechanic where you have to do silly stuff and do
What's
stupid
ta-da?
stuff.
So I actually don't know this game.
Oh, okay. So ta-da is a game by Steve Avery. I can't remember who published it, but that's a game where you're going to be rolling dice real time and trying to cast spells. And whenever you complete those spells, it gives you the chance to score points, which is trying to win the game, but also to put a spell or a hex on other players. So if I get this one, the bottom of my says, if you complete first, then you can make another player take the next turn with their head on the table, or with their chin underneath the table, or clapping like a monkey or something like that.
There are some things like that that are ridiculous, but they never felt totally ridiculous for the sake of being ridiculous to the point that it stretched it. There's some of those games that stretch it a little too far that's like, okay, I'm just doing silly things just to be silly. This one at least felt somewhat thematic and tied, and we'll get to that in theme. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second.
I think I know where you're going with that, so I understand that, but I think you have to warn people that if you're going to play this game...
There is a chance of some silly stuff happening and some stuff that feels outside of the... If you're in it for, I get resources, I use resources, I get this resource, I get this resource, I bomb you, okay, I get this resource now I got this one, I form this alliance with you, oh, you broke the alliance. If that's all you're in it for, this game is going to take you in so many different twists and turns and random things, and it might be that 3 people win the game, it might be that no people win the game, it might be that 4 people win the game, it might be that 1 person wins the game, it may be that the non-player character created by the game wins the game by themselves. That's happened to me in a game of this before.
I mean, I think you have to go into it knowing that you may do the best strategy you can. You may identify and see right away the strengths and weaknesses of the type of government you have, and you're still not going to win this game.
A question for you.
It's the experience.
But here's a question for you.
Yeah.
It's very experiential. Is it a game to you?
Is it like
or is it an activity? Hey. Do I have to throw you off this podcast mid-show?
Is it an activity or a game? No, it's definitely a game because there is a winner and a loser, and there are steps to take that. Is there some luck in the drawing of the events? Is there some luck in just the people that sit next to you? Because really, the person sitting next to you might totally destroy your game, and that's just the luck of the draw with who sat down at the table. But I still consider it a game because you're playing an event to win or lose.
I've never felt that bad about a loss in this game, and I've never felt that good about a win. Sometimes I felt a little good about a win, but relatively speaking,
you have won this game.
I
never came close.
I won the first time because I got voted to win.
Oh, that's
because
right.
I messed with Jack less than the other 2 people.
He's talking about Jack, my son, and you're right. You did on the scale
and I got voted onto the ship at the end because we were tied in influence.
On the scale of take that. You actually were a little less than Jack, right?
Yep, I was a little less, so I got voted onto the ship.
Hey, people out there, you're going to have to understand there is a little bit of voting. Yeah. Right? There's
some social play to this, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Can I tell you this, though? I never felt upset, even when some people were being mean, I guess you want to call it, or take that. Because I don't want to say, God, this is going to come out wrong. I don't mean that you're not emotionally invested in the game. I mean that you're not so emotionally invested, as in playing some long 2-hour game and then somebody totally messed up a rule or tried to play Kingmaker. It's not that kind of a game.
I'm not invested in the result of the game.
Okay, yeah.
That's, I think, the better way of putting it, because the experience along the way can be so fun and entertaining. I don't necessarily care.
Good. I was going to say, I don't necessarily want to win. I just want to have a good time playing. Does that make sense?
But here's the other question.
Yeah.
Because I heard this described as a con game. is this a game that is only going to be fun at cons? Could you see this playing well with your regular game group?
I could see playing in the game group late at night, but in reality, not really. I mean, I think this, I can see it happening, but I think this is the best suited for a con game.
Here's why I can see it working outside of a con.
Oh, okay.
It's a 15-minute game.
Okay.
It's a filler. It's a perfect filler. If you have 50 minutes to kill while another group is finishing stuff up and you have a big enough group to make it work, break this out. You're going to have a fun, weird, memorable experience.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You have a game night, right?
Yeah.
Regular game night.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of game you're going to play at your game night?
Not regularly.
Yeah.
But from time to time, if we have enough people waiting around, it's going to be an experience that they're going to remember.
Will the silly aspects of it and the take that aspects of it make people say, can't we play something else?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the players.
Okay.
If I'm thinking of Grumpy Man Matthew from back in Albuquerque,
Yeah, our buddy Matt.
I don't think he's going to dig this game so much.
Yeah.
This is not a game for
Matthew's
him.
not going to play this game.
No, and I think some of the crunchier folks are going to find this game absolutely pointless. It's kind of the same folks who didn't like The Mind probably aren't going to like this. If you didn't like that game, you won't like this game.
Well, I'm going to cross-examine you further then.
Okay.
Because we had people that walked by that play those kind of games, and we talked them into playing this game. We almost got John Newman from Southern Board Game Fest to play this game, and he doesn't play any silly games at all.
Right, but
you can't get
that
at a
being
game
said,
group.
you didn't let him know it was necessarily as silly as it was.
Okay. Fair point, but we did just people that walked up, guys that were heavy gamers, we just grabbed them and said, hey, jump in this game. And I'm thinking about our friends from iHeart Board Games. Ronald does not play silly games, and he wants the rules to be perfect. He's a really, really excellent game teacher. We talked him into playing the game. I'm not sure he enjoyed it, but he did finish the game. That's a success, right?
Is it?
Yeah. At a game night, I'm never going to get Ronald to play that game.
Sure.
But, hey.
At a con, yeah, maybe.
Do you want to play a 15-minute game?
It's a different
We're going to
setting.
teach you in 1 minute?
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I can also imagine with the right group of friends or family, could play well. That being said, more friends than family. I think I'd have a hard time playing this one with my mom.
The real question is, llama?
There's no... what are you talking about? All right. Theme.
Yes.
Does the theme of this game work for you?
Oh, that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. The story, you're right, that better fits here. I was thinking of the production of the actual writing, but it's better fitted for the theme. So, yeah, one of the things that you have to understand about this game is, I don't know how they did it, but there's a thematic connection with the cards, even though they come out random. You get this sense that things start out with the event cards. At least it seemed like that in all of our games. It started out with little ticky-tacky things that would change how we're happening. But as the timer dropped, the event cards seemed to get worse and worse, or maybe they felt that way
think because you're
of the tension.
frantic. Yeah.
Okay. They got worse and worse, and we're looking at that box, and for some reason, we just don't have time to see what's exactly in the box. We just know that there's a pile of chips, and it's not big enough for everybody to get on there, right? So if you're asking me whether this game carries the theme of we're doomed, as in there's an apocalypse about to happen, and we're not getting on this rocket, yes. It does it aces and spades.
Awesome.
What'd you think?
It does. I think that's part of the big success of this game because you have these different types of governments that kind of act like those types of governments might, and then the cards will come out that'll say you now have an offshore bank account and you can hide all of your stuff, or it'll say, the reptilian overlords have emerged and they're now a new player and they're going to mess with you. They have a lot of influence and they just sit there and grab influence, and that might be the only one aboard the rocket because they have the most influence out of anyone.
I got to be honest though, on the scale of thematics, it just doesn't feel as thematic as Coimbra or Lisboa. So I'm gonna say it's thematic.
What are you talking about?
I feel the theme coming through the game, but I don't know if it shines as well as those two games. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Dr. Gumbo sarcasm.
I'm listening.
Patented Dr. Gumbo sarcasm.
That is not snark. That's true.
I think it's a big strength of the game. I think the theme cards get you into the spirit of it, and I think it makes the silliness more palatable because it's in the context of this theme.
You rope people into doing silly things because of the frantic nature of the game, right?
Yeah, and the frantic nature of the game, and hey, the timer's going, let's go. And also, it's unpredictable. It's not like I knew that was going to happen. And beyond that, they kind of justify it sometimes with, oh, you did this thing and you did it the best? Great, you get more influence because now people respect you more for it.
That ties into what we were saying earlier, though. We talked about winning or losing, whether it's a game or not. I will tell you, while I'm playing the game, I'm trying to win.
Sure.
I'm trying to get on that
absolutely.
rocket.
Yeah.
I may not care at the end of the game whether I won or not, but during those 15 minutes, I am desperately trying to get a seat on that rocket.
And desperation because of that real-time nature of it.
And I'm not thinking in terms of winning as in points. I'm not thinking in terms of am I going to be second, third, or fourth. I'm actually thinking, am I going to get a seat on that rocket? That's a success for me when it comes to a game.
Here's the sign to me of a good theme. If the theme itself is so good then it makes you do things that are suboptimal. I think that's the sign of a good theme. And it's suboptimal in a lot of cases to throw resources into the rocket.
It is.
But you want to be the one to read that event card.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're going to do things suboptimally just for that reason. Other games that I can think of that had you do that, Above and Below, I just wanted to read that storybook more and more, so I'd go and break my adventurer's legs at every opportunity.
Right.
So that's a theme. Fog of Love is one where I'll play suboptimally because the theme overrides it. And I think this is one where the theme sometimes and the enjoyment of certain actions of the game can override.
It's hard to say that a con game is well crafted, but I will give it to them. This game is well crafted from a design standpoint. There's a lot of design elements that you could see that they took some time to think of.
And yet, I would describe the game, if I were describing it to someone else, as complete and utter nonsense.
It is. Organized chaos is what I call it. I mean, it really feels like organized chaos because there is a pattern. Alex, you're a great GM. You're keeping the table moving, and I do think if there's a flaw in the game, you need a good GM to keep the game moving, right?
Sure.
It's
you don't want people stalling and getting hung up on things and whatever else.
Maybe not a flaw. It's just it's a thing that you got to worry about in the game.
It's a thing that have someone who's played this before. I wouldn't play with all new players for your first game.
Can you imagine somebody sitting with the rule book and trying to go, okay, now I think we do this and you do that? That game stalls.
Every time, though, I play with new players, I'm delighted to see the reactions of people who are playing this for the first time. And by the way, most of the time, there's let's play again.
It's true.
Into that.
And we did that. We never played it just once.
And I played with my buddy Josh from Monochromatic Wolf, and I remember him reading one of these cards that you keep secretly and keep to yourself, and just this evil
smile.
this smile rising on his face, and I knew that it had him right then and there.
And he did a certain action, and he actually did it thematically. Did you catch that?
It was fantastic.
You know what I'm talking about,
right?
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, it was phenomenal.
He actually read the card and did the action on the card thematically, and I just can't imagine him doing that for any other game. So.
He could.
Yeah.
The right game for Josh. Okay. He can do it. In any case, that being said, it's an odd one. It's an odd one to score. Where for you, Dr. Gumbo, does this fit on the Ducal scale? And to remind folks, we rate everything on a 1 to 6 point scale here at the Dukes of Dice. 1 being bad, very bad, so bad, and a 6 being top 10 consideration.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you're going into your rating on this one, are you thinking in terms of games you've played of all time, or are you thinking in terms of the type of game it's going to be?
So Sean has, for some of his past ratings, said this is a filler 6.
Exactly, that's where I'm going.
So if you want to couch it, but you do have to give a final overall score too.
Okay.
So hit me with it.
So I'm giving you the score itself, or just my thoughts on the game?
Both.
Okay. So going into the game, I was not that excited.
Have you heard this
about
podcast
it.
before?
Yes. I think Dukes of Dice. Yeah, I think I've listened to it before. It's different on this side of the mic, though. I'll tell you that. So thinking in terms of the game, when I went into it, I wasn't that excited about it. Although I joked around with you that with my reputation, I gave it a provisional 6 and it would go down from there, right? But in all honesty, I would have to give it a 4. I think a 4, and I'm thinking in terms of a con game, of a filler game. I would have to have a 4, but my problem is I don't think I would buy it. So is that really a 4?
Do you want access to it? If
you're
at a con?
I do want access to it, yeah. I would like to be able to play it at a con.
Why is it a 4?
Yeah, the 4 because the shortness of the time. So it's a perfect one to fit in when I've got a game scheduled at 10 o'clock and we've got 30 minutes. We can pull people in. Number 2, the ability to make new friends at a con. That's one of the funnest things is meeting people. I'm still hanging out with Mr. Sean years after meeting him, you know? So I like that ability to bring people in. So that's some of the reasons why I'd want to play it again.
You know what my score is for this. You have to know what my score is for this.
I'm going to guess a 5.
You're dead wrong. It's a 6.
A 6?
It's absolutely a 6.
Game of the con, I understand, but a 6?
It's a game. So here's the thing. I played this game 6 times at Geekway to the West. Then I've played it another 3 times with you.
More than that, yeah.
And I played it with Abby with 4 players.
Yeah,
and it still worked.
Yep.
This game has worked every time I've played it. It is like a magic trick. I love bringing people into it. I love running this game. I love the crazy nonsense that happens in this game. I know at some point it may wear out its welcome. I don't care.
Right.
Thank the designer for the experience because it's been amazing.
So this is 2 or 3 cons in a row that you've brought it and played it and enjoyed it. How many is that?
This just came out this year.
Yeah, but how many cons in a row?
So this is two cons, not in a row, but 2 cons that I've played it at and enjoyed it. I bought my copy at Origins.
Okay, well, that makes sense that you're considering a 6 because I mean you keep bringing it out.
I played it 10 times.
Yeah.
I've played the game 10 times, BJ.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've played it 10 times.
Wow.
I know it's only a 15-minute game. I've played it 10 times.
You're putting it up there with Baseball House 2045.
It has the same
Flip
score.
Ships,
I don't know if it'll end up in the top 10, but it gets top 10 consideration. It's that good for me. And if you're an Alex type of gamer through and through, you need to play it. I think you need to play it. It's a game where the theme just shines through and sings.
This is my short take. I'm glad I played it, and I'm glad you own it.
Fine.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. For me, this is a quintessential Alex game because, and we described this when we were talking about top 6 Alex games for Sean and top 6 Sean games for Alex. This is a game where it's about the table experience.
Yeah.
It's about the table experience. And I love games like that. And this game is that in a nutshell.
You guys had an awesome top 6 on the last episode where we talked about Sean games and Alex games. This is an Alex game, right?
100%.
Yeah, this is an Alex game.
And by the way, Sean may really enjoy this. I'm excited to play it with him. I'm going to bring this with me back to New Mexico.
That's cheating.
And we'll
You
see.
know how much he likes Coup and Avalon and all those other games. This is like a next level of that.
And it's nonsense. And it's absolute nonsense. So, yeah, that's our review of We're Doomed. It's going to get a 4 from Dr. Gumbo and a straight 6 from me. All right, back here at Dice Tower Con, and Dr. Gumbo taking a little bit of a break here because we are going to be talking about the Baseball Highlights 2045 tournament. And before we bring on the winner, who is sitting next to me and will be revealed shortly, let's talk a little bit about this because this was a historic event here at Dice Tower Con. We've been running this tournament for a number of years now. It started off more like an 8-team tournament. It's been 4 or 5. I couldn't tell you exactly how many. I know my first ever Dice Tower Con, I played this game here. I played it for the first time, fell in love with it, and it's been a love affair ever since. The year after, we ran a tournament. Then we ran another tournament. Then we ran a bigger tournament. Then we ran a bigger tournament. And now we ran the biggest tournament that has ever been done for Baseball Highlights 2045. So kudos to us, I guess.
I think so.
Hey, what? You're not supposed to be revealed yet. Shh, keep it quiet. Quiet over there. We'll get to you. We'll get there, okay? Let me have my moment in the sun before I give you an entire year in the sun again. Oh no, I spoiled it now too. All right, we'll get there. This is a 32-team tournament. It was supposed to be. We didn't quite pull it off because we had some no-shows, and it ended up being a 31-person tournament, but 31 doesn't really work, so unfortunately, Damien, I feel so bad. Damien was the odd man out. Damien ended up refereeing for a little while, umpiring, if you will, and then leaving. It was a 30-team tournament. Let's just say I decided I needed to help organize the tournament a little bit more, so I decided it was best of me not to advance too far this year. So I decided not to make it out of the pod. I finished last in my pod. I was 4-5 and was 4th on the tiebreaker. I didn't make it out alive. Now, both of the Rosases, BJ Rozas and Jack Rozas, made it out, as well as listeners Bill Simone and his son Christopher Simone. Both of them made it out. The Rosases, not so great. Didn't do so well. Now, they lost in the first round of the playoffs. The Simones, they did very well. Younger Simone lost to Philip Millman, my arch nemesis and rival, Baseball Highlights 2045, in the semifinals. Should be noted that coming out of the pods, Philip Millman, the number 1 overall seed, was 8-1 in the pods, had the best run differential, and everyone was afraid to play him. I think for a good reason, because the games were close in the playoffs, but he won all of them, including over the younger Simone, on the way to the finals. Meeting him in the finals was the older Simone, Bill Simone. So it was a Simone family affair with their hopes and dreams ruined by Philip Millman, who now joins us. He has repeated as champion. For folks who don't know the history, he eliminated me in the semifinals last year in an epic series. I think I've given you the best series you've ever had.
Absolutely. Without a doubt, that is a series that I still have nightmares about.
Nightmares? You won!
It was
you
so
won the
stressful.
Series.
It was so stressful.
You are so smug. I hate this so much.
You're so good.
So Philip ended up not just winning 3-0 in both the rounds. You had a bye out of the first round,
right,
because you were the top overall seed. Swept all close games, if I'm recalling correctly, by one run or some in extra innings. But no one beat you.
Mm-mm.
And then in the World Series, someone beat you, but not very much. Just one game. You win 4-1. You did something in this with scraps. So for folks who don't know, in Baseball Highlights 2045, there's a card called Scraps where you play it, you remove it from the deck, you replace it with a free agent. That happened to be a very valuable free agent. You got Mookie Rivers out of there.
I did.
And if Mike Fitzgerald is listening, he is shaking his head. We removed several cards. We're probably going to remove more for next year's tournament. But
I think so.
Fair and square. Philip Millman, fair and square, has won only 2 losses all tournament long. 1 in pool play and 1 in the World Series.
And both to Bill Simone.
but not enough to Bill Simone because he didn't win. Philip Millman won. So how did you do it? How did you do it back to back? Because we had even more players, even more people determined to stop you, and your reign of terror has continued for another year.
I don't actually know. That's the sad part.
You know, but come on, you know.
Look,
2 years in a row, that's no fluke.
No, I got lucky by a couple of things.
Oh, my goodness.
First of all, our particular pod had an amazing free agent draw. And I was hearing complaints about other pods where they didn't get some of the guys that we did. Yes, I pulled up Mookie Rivers, which...
But you have to have the money to get some of the other guys, too, that you got.
But yeah, and I was able to get, what's his name, Arnaud, who has, he's cost 6, but he gives you 4 income, and he's a Magna. And then, of course, I had the 5/1 robot that duplicates, so I was able to leverage that early on. And we were just also getting just really good players coming out so that we could be able to buy a lot of things. I mean, Bill had some amazing... naturals. He had, 12 naturals in his deck, which caused me all sorts of consternation, especially in the finals. So,
not that much consternation. You won in 5 games. Cut it out.
But each game was tough, and I mean, there was really no.
Oh my goodness.
Bill's a great player, and you're a great player, and
I'm not that great of a player. I didn't make it out of my own pod, and my pod was both swept in the first round.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, I'm not a very good player apparently.
Well, I mean, in that online league, I did terribly. I didn't make it into the playoffs then.
I didn't make it into the playoffs either. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, Baseball Highlights is a great game, and sometimes you can play it perfectly and not do well, and sometimes, things just, the stars align, and I got lucky again in many respects. Yes, I focused on the money, but it happened to work out. For those that can't see this, Alex is rolling his eyes.
My eyes have almost rolled out of my head listening to you talk about this. No, well, sometimes you get a little lucky. You just, I focused on the money. Some breaks went my way. I only lost twice the entire time. Won for 2 years in a row. It's still a big deal. I'm just taking this tournament I bought home with me. It's fine.
Yes, this little trophy that we got, and hopefully it'll get posted in the guild.
It's a great trophy.
We didn't have a trophy last year, and so I also helped organize the tournament with Alex and Evan, and I thought through a great suggestion from our friend Kathleen Mercury that we should get a pre-World War II trophy. So I went onto eBay and found one from 1938 from someplace in Avon Park. I have no idea where that is, and this will be, I will be carrying this around and taking pictures with this everywhere I go.
You have to do one every day for the next year. That's your punishment.
Except on the Sabbath.
Okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, you get to take a break on the Sabbath. That's okay.
But yeah, I'm grateful, and I'm really glad that we had so many people here.
It was incredible.
And what I'm also grateful for is that Eagle Griffin Games gave us a ton of swag to give to people. And
everyone went home with something.
Everybody went home with something, whether it be a Yaz promo or a half neoprene baseball field. But a lot of us already have the doubles, so we were able to give more of those out. Literally everybody walked away a winner. And yes, I'm very happy and grateful that I won. I really am. But it's more important to me, quite frankly, that everybody had a good time. And it seems like everybody had a good time.
I heard you say it. There were no losers.
No losers.
So everyone won. So this trophy is as much mine as it is yours, despite me not making it on my own pod and embarrassing my family name.
So, I was told, I will have to tell you a little backstory. So as I was about to come to the con, and I was talking to a senior person in my government agency that I work for, and he knows about this, and I won. He says, Millman, you got to win this. If you don't, you're letting us all down. So I had the entire weight of the U.S. federal government on my back. So I had to win it. So
you're saying, despite all of the enormous pressure on your back, you were somehow still able to overcome the odds and win.
Yes.
I hate you so much.
So am I still your rival and arch nemesis?
I don't know if I can be considered that if I can't make it out of the dang pool round.
So, I mean, and I would say that we did have a sign up on the BGG. We did randomly assign it.
Oh no, it was all very fair. There's nothing against your win. Like, it was all above board. Though I will say, the winner is wearing an umpire shirt, which may seem a little fishy to some folks.
Yeah, I know. The ethics officer in my government agency was a little worried about it, but I said, look, we have it. If there's a question that comes up in my pod, either Alex or Evan would take care of it. I fielded a lot of questions in a lot of other pods. It's really just for rules explanations. It's not for an actual. And when there was an issue, we all collaborated and voted on it. So I don't think there was a real problem.
The whole room was very casual about this. This is not like a life or death tournament. There wasn't a sense of that. Everyone seemed happy if you made it in the playoffs. People seemed happy to be there.
Right.
The mood in the room was incredible. The energy in the room was incredible. If you are a fan at all of this game and you happen to be at Dice Tower Con, you have to play in this tournament next year when we have 64 teams.
Oh God!
No, I'm absolutely not happening. We'll play if we can get to a full 32. We'll break the record.
But the one person I do want to call out is David Carey. He had never played baseball highlights.
Yeah, he learned ahead of time.
Right. So before the game started, before the tournament started, we had to teach, and David was one of the new people who had never played the game. He was really interested in playing it, and he made it to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and in a close series. He was eliminated in a close series.
Yeah, and he just showed a natural affinity for it, and he got a prize of an entire game, and it was great. And we had new people who did very well. It's one of these games where you can pick it up. Yes, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of interesting things that can happen, but it's just such a fun game, and the theming and the one-on-one play. It's just so amazing. This is really my number one game, even though even though typically my games are more Sean games, I really, really like Baseball Highlights 2045, and I enjoy hanging out with other people who like playing Baseball 2045, like Alex.
We had someone in an Orioles jersey, which was fantastic. An bright orange Orioles jersey and hat.
Yeah,
we had tons of great people here.
We had a couple Canadians who did very well. We had people from all over. So look, it's a great game. I'm really, really happy that we had 30 people play, and I'm grateful that I got another chance to carry home the trophy.
Yeah,
that I had to pay for my own money.
I think it's worth it at this point.
Yeah,
this time your money's worth out of that trophy.
Now I have. Now I will be sort of like when Kathleen Mercury won the spinning tops.
Right.
I now will be taking this everywhere and taking pictures with it, and I will be tagging both Alex and Kathleen.
Oh, I'm incredibly excited to see this. Oh, I suggested it too. It's on me. Big thanks to you for helping organize this. You did a lot of the heavy lifting. Big thanks to Eagle Griffin for the amazing prize support, and big thanks to everyone who played, because without the players, this is nothing. We had a great time. It was fantastic. As much as I'm chagrined about it, a worthy winner yet again. You are a fantastic player, and you've proven it time and time again. You were the first time repeat champion, and we've called this the world champion.
Yes, because no other place has 30 participants.
That's right. If you think you have the world championship, you better play with more teams than we did.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Exactly.
Not officially sanctioned by Eagle Griffin or Mike Fitzgerald, but I'm calling it the world championships.
I agree
until
with you.
someone says I can't.
And even then, we can still call it that.
Well, we will. Yeah. Anyway, Phil, thank you for your time, and congratulations once again.
Alex, thank you very much. And for just letting everybody know, we will have pictures up on the usual social media sites.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, it is very, very late on a Friday night, and TheMrSean, our producer, has told us if we don't finish in the next 5 minutes, he is going to kill me. It's a very aggressive threat. I don't know why he was so aggressive about it.
Wow, because he's normally so low key.
He's so low key. I don't know what I did.
Eye.
It's man. I mean, it might be because I almost spilled water all over his electronic equipment.
You were so close.
I was so close to spilling water. I'm so sorry, by the way.
We're throwing tablecloths on the top, trying to save the equipment.
We solved it. Also, I hopefully got edited out, but I did curse earlier, so that's on me. It's only the second time I've ever done that.
That's the first time I've ever heard you curse ever.
That's not true. That's definitely not true. Before we wrap things up, we still have a couple more days at the con, but we figured we'd record now before the voices get a little too scraggly.
They are getting pretty rough right now.
Yeah, already. Yeah. So let's wrap it up with the rest of the top 6 names, the episode's names that didn't quite make the cut, but were still pretty dang good. So BJ, kick us off.
And we were pretty close. We agreed on a lot of these, so I like that. The first one was Laissez le non Sean Roulet by our friend the name Father Steve O'Rourke.
And why's that name?
It's good because BJ from Board Game Gumbo, me being on the show, Les Le Bon Temps Roulé. Also, you're not at Sean Con, and we wish Sean would be here. We had such a good time with him in 2017.
He needs to come back to Dice Tower Con. It bugs me so much that he's not here. All right. Next up, Red Beans and Dice from Neil Hoffman, referring to Red Beans and Rice. Next up, BJ, what else do we got?
And one you really liked from Baker Mitchell, right?
Baker Mitchell or Blaine Miley?
It's
Baker Mitchell. Sorry, Baker.
It's either Baker or Blaine, right?
It's one of those two.
San Sean Con.
There we
you
go.
put that in there just so I'd have to do that.
I know, and I made sure to get it in that right order, too. Nailed you. All right, Ben Ogden came up with Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom for We're Doomed, and also I call you Dr. Gumbo all the time.
It's right.
For no real good reason.
I am a Jewish doctor, though, right?
Yeah, sure.
And is it the last one?
Last one?
And this one, not my personal favorite, but I know you like this one a lot. BJ and the Bad News Bears by Randy Bieri. And I got to admit, I can see the cleverness of that. Bad News Bears for my horrible record here at the tournament. So
yeah.
And the bad news you get during We're Doomed, because it's nothing but bad news.
Your bad
coming
record
out.
during the tournament, you made it out of the pool play. I did not.
I did, that's right. And the Rozas are 2 for 2 on making out a pod play, and we do have one world championship. How many does Alex have? Anybody know? Anybody know how many does Alex have? Right. I see the big donut from
The answer is 0.
Your buddy Phil is
By the way,
still
I don't
here.
anticipate that changing anytime soon, unfortunately.
I think your buddy Phil is still here just to razz you.
Oh no,
this
I
podcast.
can hear him, and so that means it's time to leave.
Can I give him a big shout out though? This was a great
Yeah,
experience.
he did a great job.
Absolutely,
Evan
great
helped out
experience.
too.
Good job,
Yeah.
big job from Evan and everybody else with the group,
It was
and of
awesome.
course Berkey. Berkey actually helped out everybody else in his pod, just trying to get him moving forward. So thanks a lot, Berkey.
Yeah. And that's going to do it for episode 204, Roux the Day. Thanks again to Nick Hayes for naming this episode. And thanks again for tuning in. Sean will be back next episode for all of you Alex haters.
The 15%, right?
Yeah, the 85% actually is the anyway. Until next time, this is Alex.
And BJ.
And we'll see you next time.
Laissez le bon temps rouler.
Thank you so much for listening to the Dukes of Dice. Today's episode was recorded at Dice Tower Con 2019 on July 5th, 2019. The Dukes of Dice are a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. You can find other great board gaming podcasts at dicetowernetwork.com and learn all the ways to the Dutchie on our Board Game Geek Guild. Find us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Dukes of Dice are sponsored by Arcane Wonders and Game Toppers LLC. You can find out more about Arcane Wonders fine games at arcanewonders.com and learn more about Game Toppers at gametoppersllc.com. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Until then, game on.